Hello friends. Today we're back with more Zelda theories, cause who doesn't love Zelda theories? It's been a bit over a year now since the last time that I've made one of these micro theory videos, so I thought we might as well revisit the idea and put together another list between some of my larger projects. But you may be watching this asking, what is a micro theory? Well, to clarify, we all have our theories and headcanons, but sometimes those ideas don't quite have enough substance to them to warrant an entire theory video dedicated all to itself. So instead of trying to pad out or artificially stretch one of these theories into its own video, we'll keep it small and pack several theories all into one video instead. This is the third micro theory video I've made now, so you can always go check out the previous two if you're hungry for more of these little snack-sized theories. I'd also like to mention that most of these, but not all of them, have a strong focus on Ocarina of Time in particular. The reason for that is that I've been replaying that game on stream lately and just noticing things that end up being great theory material. So my apologies there for the lack of variety, but otherwise, let's hop into it. Ocarina of Time has arguably some of the series' most iconic dungeons. From the start of our journey into the Great Deku Tree, to the unforgettable Forest Temple, all the way to the Shadow and Spirit Temples. This game's dungeons and its locales overall are unparalleled. I've always found the Fire Temple to be an interesting place in particular. The entrance rests deep inside of Death Mountain's crater, and the two massive towers of its layout actually extend upwards into Spectacle Rock. That's these two massive rock formations just outside. So in a way, when you're up here to grab a piece of heart, you're actually on the roof of this room. It's not very common for games of this era to accommodate an interior layout with actual geometry outside. I mean, even within this game, there's no way that the water temple all fits within this island in Lake Hylia, but we just accept it. The Fire Temple, however, just feels a little more integrated into the world design because of this. But the important part, and what's interesting about this, is that Spectacle Rock is found in other Zelda titles. We see it in A Link to the Past and even Zelda 1 and 2 on the NES. And even back then, there were caves inside to explore. In Zelda 1, the inside of Spectacle Rock is actually level 9, Ganon's lair. It's a winding, confusing labyrinth of rooms where the King of Evil is holed up with Zelda captive. The same hero then revisits Spectacle Rock in Zelda 2, where he obtains the hammer. So my headcanon here, my micro theory, is that these are all one and the same place. When the hero of Hyrule in Zelda 1 and 2 visits the interior of Spectacle Rock, he is exploring the same halls of the Fire Temple that the hero of Time had visited before him in Ocarina of Time. The item found here for both heroes is even the same, that being the hammer, and there are some similarities in the visual designs. These are also the two games that feature Volvagia as a dungeon boss, though granted he isn't actually found in Death Mountain in Zelda 2, but hey, he's still here. One of Breath of the Wild's most iconic locations is the Dueling Peaks. It was featured heavily in advertising, and it's an immediately recognizable part of Hyrule's skyline. But unlike many other famous landmarks in Hyrule, like Death Mountain, the Dueling Peaks seem to be a new area that we haven't visited before. Or is it? This is Zora's Fountain, the home of Jabu Jabu in Ocarina of Time. And bam! The Dueling Peaks are here. Now, they aren't scaled 1-to-1 with the Dueling Peaks in Breath of the Wild, but nothing from the N64 version of Hyrule is really. This mountain really is unique though. There isn't another mountain in Hyrule split down the middle so dramatically like this, so it makes total sense that it's something they'd want to reuse and put more emphasis on later, since its Ocarina of Time appearance is basically just a background element here. So yeah, the Dueling Peaks have actually been here much longer than we thought. It was just in the background and we never noticed it. Vati is one of the series' most iconic recurring villains. He's the villain with the most recurring appearances aside from Ganon himself. In fact, he has just as many appearances in the series so far as Ganondorf in his Gerudo form, and his story is pretty wild. He's basically a cute little Minish and magician's apprentice turned evil sorcerer turned giant eyeball monstrosity, and it takes not one but 4 Links to bring this guy down. In terms of chronology, he also predates Ganon, appearing in the Minish Cap and 4 Swords, so he showed up twice before Ganondorf was even born. Both of those appearances directly preceding Ocarina of Time, in fact. So it makes sense that this guy would leave a mark on the history of Hyrule. People wouldn't look back too fondly on him for the conflicts that he brought. So the confusing question is this: is this artwork in the Spirit Temple a depiction of Vati? If so, why is there artwork of Vati found in the Spirit Temple? This sacred Gerudo site, as well as the Gerudo people, have no known connection to the Minish or either of the conflicts that led to Vati being defeated up until that point. This one is sort of a mystery, but this artwork is found in several places around the temple. This wasn't changed or scrubbed out of the 3DS version either. My best guess is that the art found all around the Spirit Temple is history from the Gerudo's point of view, or being a people that just came out of a civil war against Hyrule, maybe they didn't think Vati was such a bad guy before recently. One of those the enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of mentalities. Who knows? But for me, the resemblance is too uncanny for me to think that this art is meant to be anyone other than Vati, at least from an in-universe standpoint. In Skyward Sword, there are 3 sacred flames that are essential to the game's story. These are Nehru's Flame, Farore's Flame, and Din's Flame, named after the 3 golden goddesses. These fires have strange properties, perhaps more than we know, but they are used by the hero of the sky to forge the Master Sword. So the powers of these flames are undoubtedly divine in nature. So with such an important guarded power such as these flames, why are they never seen again throughout the series? Well, perhaps they are. Let's start with the more obvious, Nehru's Flame. There is a chance that this sacred flame was divided and secreted away, as blue flames are seen again down the timeline. In the era of Ocarina of Time, a hidden cave near Zora's domain known as the Ice Cavern protects several cauldrons of this blue flame. It certainly isn't a natural fire, as it can be stored in a bottle, which real fire wouldn't be able to, as the lack of oxygen would snuff the flame out. And it is the only thing able to melt this mysterious red ice. Many thousands of years later, the Sheikah would use a mysterious blue flame to power their technology. There is a chance that this flame is all one and the same, that Nehru's Flame was taken from the sand ship and hidden away in the ice cavern for safekeeping, especially since the Lanayru province in Skyward Sword was drastically altered from a lush green landscape into a harsh desert. It's possible that those entrusted with protecting the flame believed that this wasn't a safe place to keep it hidden any longer, especially with the ancient robots all becoming non-functional and with the rise of the Gerudo taking over the province. Let's keep in mind that there was not peace between Hylians and Gerudos until the end of the Hylian Civil War, about 10 years before Ocarina of Time. So keeping one of your most sacred relics in enemy territory doesn't seem like the best move. But with how easy it is to take samples of this sacred flame, it was soon spread into different areas of Hyrule, possibly being stored underground, which the Sheikah would later be able to tap into and harvest as a power source. A sacred flame powering their technology and weapons would account for why these weapons are so powerful. Ancient arrows are able to vaporize most enemies and can even inflict damage upon Dark Beast Ganon. Normally, only sacred weapons, such as light arrows or beams from the Master Sword, can accomplish this. So it makes sense that it's their sacred power source that allows for this with these weapons too. So that's one flame accounted for. But what about the other 2? Din's Flame is a bit harder to nail down. It's a red fire, which is already not far off from the normal color of fire. Farore's Flame is green, which is more visually distinct, but just as scarcely found throughout the series. Blue fire seems to be the only one, at a glance at least, that makes several appearances. But there is still a chance that these sacred flames can still be found in later games. In Ocarina of Time, we visit several fairy fountains scattered throughout Hyrule in both adult and child eras. In all cases, the fairy fountains have torches on either side of them, and these torches do have colored flames that correspond with the goddess flames. Though the orange here is a bit different from Din's more red flame, it's still pretty close. Great fairies are also known to be extremely powerful entities, so they would be pretty trustworthy as protectors to these extremely important and powerful relics. Undoubtedly, most travelers and passerbys would probably not know about the sacred flames and write them off as decorations for the great fairies, essentially hiding them in plain sight. There's also the 3 spells granted to you by these same great fairies, which are named after and correspond to the 3 golden goddesses: Din's fire, Furor's wind, and Nehru's love. Judging by their appearance alone, it could be that these spells are actually fragments or samples of the sacred flames contained within a crystal, allowing Link to harness these powers. But now it's starting to feel like I'm reaching. After this point, it's hard to say what happened to these flames aside from Nehru's flame, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're still hidden somewhere around Hyrule. And with the Master Sword looking this damaged in Tears of the Kingdom, I don't think it's unlikely that we'll be seeing them again soon. In Twilight Princess, you call upon the Hero's Shade by howling at these howling stones. This leads to a brief musical encounter, and then later on some training with the Hero's Shade himself. The songs at these howling stones are, appropriately, mostly songs from the Hero of Time's past adventures. Since the Hero's Shade is the Hero of Time, this makes sense. But the song found at the first howling stone is the important one here. It's the Song of Healing from Majora's Mask. We know that its effect is to heal emotional and spiritual pain, as seen with the resting of both Darmani and Mikau's souls. But the song has another ability. It has the power to break curses. This is seen in action both to break the curse on Link early on in the game, freeing him from being trapped in Deku form, as well as Pamela's father in Icana Canyon, when he's transformed into a Gibdo. Both times we see it breaking a curse, it is to cure someone who has been physically transformed. So, is it possible that when the Hero of Time's spirit, the Hero's Shade, intervenes with the Hero of Twilight's quest and attempts to assist him, he notices the new hero being cursed by this Twilight magic, trapped in a different body, a feeling he knows all too well himself. So he does what has worked in the past. He tries to teach the new hero the Song of Healing in an attempt to break the curse on his descendant, maybe thinking that he can grant the Hero of Twilight a mask that would allow him to change at will, just like he was able to with his own Deku form. But this curse is different. It's stronger, so the song doesn't actually work, and the Hero of Twilight is none the wiser about the power held in those notes, never knowing that the Hero of Time was trying to free him, and that if this had worked, he would have gained the ability to transform at will much earlier on in his adventure. Alright everybody, thank you so much for watching this. I apologize for sounding a little extra nasally in this video. I am coming down with a cold or something, but nothing major. But I appreciate you guys sticking around watching this, and let me know which one was your favorite of these little micro theories, or if you've got a theory of your own that you just want to throw out there. Alright, that's all for me. Bye-bye! Thank you so much for watching this video. Before we end this off, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to my patrons and channel members, including, but not limited to, Greymage, Brenda, Tetra, Callie, Ethan3G, Gail, Hylian Wes, Justin, Clifford Longhead, Midnight Naomi, and Bunny. Thank you all so much for the support and for watching, and I will catch you all next time. Bye-bye!